What's going on, everybody? Around the Octagon is live, and we have a special episode for you all tonight. You know me, you know Zach, you know San. Joining us tonight is a professional boxer with an undefeated record of 6-0, fighting out of Lansing, Michigan, and the proud owner of Jet Boxing and Fitness, JJ the Jet Johnson. JJ, extremely excited to have you on tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Just actually here, hanging out here at the gym right now, and about to knock out this podcast.
Let's
Life's
go,
been
baby.
good,
Let's
man.
go.
I'm definitely blessed.
Let's go. Awesome to hear. So let's start from the beginning. Can you explain your background a little bit? You know, what age did you start boxing, and what kind of motivated you to get into the sport?
Yeah. So growing up, I was always in and out of trouble, and starting from a young age, I wanted to box. And I asked my mom, to take me to a boxing gym at a young age, and she said, if you can stay at a gym or stay out of trouble for a month, we'll go ahead and we'll start you boxing. Well, that day never came, so it took a while. I don't think it was until 2015 when I graduated high school in 2015. I was actually battling through some court cases for getting in trouble for fighting, and ended up doing a little bit of time for it. But then I stumbled upon Crown Boxing. I started walking up to Crown, which was about probably 4 or 5 mile walk up there. So I started walking up there and then started training. And it was really just a good outlet for me. And that was back in 2015. So I would have been, I think, 17 or 18 years old. And then just kind of grew from there. And, it became a outlet. I was just an angry kid growing up. So being able to have that outlet and going to the gym and something to kind of work towards really helped me grow into the person I am today.
That's dope, man. So getting into that, into the boxing and kind of, using that as an outlet, you found yourself fighting amateurs, and you had a very successful career with amateurs at that, and a pretty lengthy career. You want to tell us kind of, your process there, how that came to be, and why I guess you decided to go pro, or if that wasn't even a decision, if that was just, you kind of always knew you wanted to be a pro boxer.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to be a pro boxer. And I remember when I first started, my goal was to, fight a good amount of amateur fights, which I ended up having 35 amateur fights. And I was super busy and super active from 2016 to 2020, basically right when COVID happened. And then with that happening, I opened up the gym in 2019. So I kind of started putting my attention towards that because COVID had happened and kind of wiped out boxing. So I didn't fight as often from like 2020, obviously, because everything was shut down. And I think from like 2021 to early 2020 or late 2022, I think I only had 3 amateur fights. So I obviously did the other 30 some amateur fights during that period between 2016 and early 2020. But all of it was good learning experience. And I remember, growing up. So like a lot of it too was, I feel like this is things that people struggle with, but through the process of the amateurs, me really, believing in myself, and I think we all, people won't state it, but I think we all struggle with that in some point, and some things in some different ways in our life. And I think, through the process of obviously growing the gym and all the amateur fights and all the experience and all the work ethic that I put in, time and time again, proving to myself that I can go and handle this and I can do all these things that I dream of doing. All throughout that journey, that kind of came about. So I fought as an amateur from 2016 to 2023, and then I turned pro in 2023, and to now I'm 6-0 and about to be 7-0 here and get this dude up out of there and put on a show. So it'll be a good time. And so I love everything that's coming my way and all the great things that are on my plate, just through the great work ethic and everything I've learned over the years and the great mentors I have in my life, So that's kind of a little background story about, my amateur career.
Do you think that, since in like the last, I guess the back end of your amateur career, the fights kind of started slowing down just because of the environment and everything outside and how everything was going.
Yeah.
Do you think that kind of made your pro debut a little bit later than you think it should have, or do you think it delayed it a little bit? Or
if looking back at it, I wish I would have went pro maybe a little bit sooner, but looking back at it, like it kind of all came in perfectly, everything with the gym, because I'm at a point now with the gym, which is a great, like I actually had an interview earlier with the Lansing State News. We did a background story on the gym, and I was kind of thinking about it, but my overall goal, and she brought it up because they did a story about 8 years ago about this, and my whole goal was always around my boxing career, right? And getting the gym to a point to where I can just focus on my boxing career. And that's where it is now. I mean, even when you were coming, I was working a lot of hours, and I wasn't able to train like I probably should have, especially being a professional. And now I got that 5 hour chunk of period out the day that I'm able to just sit down and just train, and, having the staff behind me to be able to, take care of, like, obviously that's income for myself now too, with having the gym here. So financially, the financial part of it's not a struggle no more. I can go out and train and not have to be working a crazy amount of hours like some of these other guys do. I can just focus on just training specifically. So I think it all fell in line just right at the right time.
Yeah. I mean, well, you took care of us good, man. So I appreciate all the work you did for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Zach, Colin, you guys got anything?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. So I know you kind of touched on your upbringing and your start. So I was just wondering, what is something you would take away from that start that has really translated towards the success you've had thus far in your career?
Something that I guess take away is, like, as far as like something that I look at and remember, moment I remember as far as a turning point kind of in my life as far as that goes.
Yeah, you can take it that way, or even like certain skill sets you picked up given how you started that have, led you to be at where you're at now.
Yeah, I think obviously I think some of them is, I was always, so growing up, and this is something I encourage everybody to do. And it doesn't matter if it's just boxing or it's whatever you enjoy doing and whatever you dream to do in your life. But, getting outside your own comfort zone and facing your fears. I'd say one of my biggest fears in life is, getting knocked out in front of thousands of people. And I'm sure a lot of people could say that, or getting your ass beat, whatever it is, in front of thousands of people. And then my second thing would be like public speaking and get in front of talking in front of people. And just so happens to be, those are the two things that I'm like so driven to be the best at, and those are the things that I try. Like, I want to eventually go on and be a motivational speaker. And I think it's very, very important for people to get outside their comfort zone and do the things they're not so comfortable doing, because that's where growth is made. But that, and on top of another situation that I would say is a big turning point as far as my overall like career and the direction of my life, would be kind of getting away from the friend group I used to have. And it became like, when me and Mondo became friends, everything started turning in a way to where I opened the gym pretty recently, right after we started becoming friends. And then, obviously everything was just, our whole lives revolved around just working out and just boxing. So it gave me a good direction and good focus. They say you are the sum of your 5 best friends. And I'm a true believer of that. You should always be pushing each other to be better and better.
Well, now that you mentioned it, and I'm glad you brought it up, your relationship with Mondo, that's another guy we've had on the podcast before. We've done an interview with him. He kind of ran through his story. And you guys are kind of going in a parallel in your guys' careers, especially within the fight game. You guys have both found a lot of success in the professional fighting. Do you think, that relationship with that, growing up with Mondo and kind of growing as a fighter together, do you guys think that, you guys were kind of, pushing each other like a iron sharpens iron type of thing? How do you think that relationship, helped you guys out?
100%. I've always, he would say I'm a big avenue for, I would say he has a tremendous work ethic, one of the hardest workers in the room every time he steps in the room. And I preside that as well. And I think mine's a little bit, Mondo really taught me the one about more of a work ethic and having somebody able to do that with, which was super key in a good point in my life. But then on top of that too, the marketing side of it, he showed me kind of, because I'd never been big into like the social media or how to advertise, or like even like I've grown so much over the years, but as far as just communicating with others, and having those relationships that you need to help propel you to the next level, because you need all that. Like, you could be the best boxer in the world, but if you can't put no asses in seats, they're not gonna sell you. I mean, for a prime example, you look at like what Jake Paul and stuff doing nowadays. I mean, shit, he puts people in seats. It's entertaining. People love it, So people are buying tickets and it's making money. If it makes money, it makes sense. So that's a lot of things that I feel like I kind of picked up from Mondo. And the great relationship that we do have.
Oh yeah.
During a period of time too, during COVID, man, I'm not joking. Me and him were working out like 4 times a day, man, every single day, just getting better. And I think a lot of growth during that time. Even though I wasn't fighting, I became a better fighter and a better person during that time.
Yeah. Hitting that sauna 4 hours a day.
Yeah, no, for real. You ain't lying. No, it was legit. I was in some of the my life.
So going back to boxing as a whole, what are your future goals and aspirations in boxing, and what does that path look like to you?
I want to stay. I have a great right now. I like the path that we're on. We've been pretty active, 3 to 4 fights a year. I'd like to get 2 more this fight plus 2 more fights. I really my goal was to bring back boxing to Lansing. So before I go ahead and hit the big stage, I want to go ahead like get on the zone and these bigger cards and really try fighting for a world title and taking it as far as I can. Taking it till the wheels fall off. I mean, this is what I love to do. And I actually just put a video out about it, but you know, being in fight camp really pushes me to be the best person. It really challenges me. And I hate it, but I love it at the same time. So it's like, it's the uncomfortability of it and being there and just, you know, having all these different things on my plate. So my goal with it would be to be a world champion, to be at the top of the game, to make good money doing it. And then ride off in the sunset and have a good family and, you know, be able to invest my money wisely into like either my gym or whatever other avenue I plan on doing afterwards.
Awesome. I know you just kind of brought up the fight camp there. I was just curious for myself and for anyone listening, what does that fight camp look like? How far out in advance do you start your camp, and when is the weight cutting aspect really come into play with your camp?
Yes. I typically, my fight camp's typically about 2 months. My biggest thing, some fighters, like they take time off. We were actually just talking about this today, but I train all year round. Like the only time I normally am in the gym every day, you know, if I'm out of season, like out of camp, normally it's like a little bit heavier on strength and conditioning, not as much boxing, a little bit more skill work, and then very little kind of tapering away from cardio. I used to run all the time. I'm still doing cardio. I'd still be swimming and running here and there, but it may be like once a week versus like, you know, during camp, normally we have like, so if it's a 2-month period, normally we'll do 3 weeks hard, and then you'll have a deload week. So that's about half of the workout. So 3 weeks hard is about anywhere from 10 to 12 workouts a week. And then it'll cut down to 6 to 7 workouts a week, or maybe even a little bit smaller than that during the deload week. Kind of just, it's more just to kind of refeed your body to, if you have any injuries, to rest up a little bit. And then for that, another big push. So right now we're, the beginning of our 3rd week here. Well, this will be the beginning of our 3rd week last push here. So then I'll deload the week before. And that's kind of where the weight cutting process starts. But through the camp, I start off normally about like 190 to 200 pounds and then get down to 168. So I'm cutting weight anywhere from about 3 to 4 pounds a week. And then that last big cut is coming, like 10 pounds is coming just from like a water fast at the end. So like water fluctuation. So I'll be drinking like 2 gallons of water, and then I'll cut that back that week of the fight. So you're still sweating and pissing out everything that you've drank. And you're still sweating it out in the water. You're kind of just depleting yourself more than anything before you hop on the scales.
Gotcha. I also wanted to touch on, I know you've trained with a bunch of mixed martial arts fighters, or know a bunch at least, like Mondo, Chaos Williams, Jamal Hill. So 2 things there. 1, what has that been like to experience? And number 2, have you ever dabbled in any other mixed martial arts yourself, or have you been strictly boxing?
Yeah, so I have. I've done quite a bit, like a good amount of wrestling, especially during COVID. I was doing a little bit of wrestling, jiu-jitsu. It's just honestly, man, I love boxing, man. I feel like a lot of people, they watch fights to watch people get knocked out, right? So I'd rather stand up and mix it around. I'm not a big wrestler. I'm not bad at it. I do all right, but it's just never been my thing. I haven't invested that much time into it. And I've always kind of loved to you see boxing coming back, and I'm happy about that, but they need to bring more personality. You know, more people need to talk shit. It's became too, I don't even know if it's commercialized, but you need to have they need to bring back the drama back to it. So, which I see that's coming back, which is super cool, but I think it kind of got lost a little bit the last like 20 years. There was no like really big personalities that kind of stood out, if that makes sense, to really bring the attention of the crowd. So I think that kind of also had a dude effect with like MMA and stuff too.
Yeah, definitely. I also feel like kind of the structure of professional boxing right now, when you're having, you know, multiple champs across, people get confused. Like your more casual fans get confused on, all right, who's the guy at this weight class? What's going on there? So I feel like that also.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree. They make it confusing. I think there should be one belt, and that's the one sanctioned in body basically, and we're all fighting for that one belt. Because I mean, you got 40, 50 champions that one weight class, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody, the biggest thing is if you're big into boxing, you know what the big belts are, so you know those are the top guys. And now, you know, a lot of people, everyone's starting to fight everyone. I think we're still in kind of a little bit of the Floyd Mayweather effect, where everyone's kind of hiding that zero. But now I feel like people are kind of getting out there and fighting the fights that need to be made. A long time, a lot of people ducking people for too long.
Definitely helps out when you have Turkey out there in the Saudis to go and pay for some big fights to come. So
exactly. So no, I'm excited to see where it goes here in the next 5 years. I think it's only looking up though. And
definitely.
And with what do they got? What's the celebrity boxing shit called?
The Zone or Misfits?
The Misfits. I think that's bringing a different type. I think it's good, but I also think it kind of uncreditizes boxing a little bit in a way. I think it's getting more eyes to it, but it's becoming sports in general, man. I mean, you look at all sports nowadays, it's great entertainment, but everything's becoming like the WWE, all the way from like basketball to the football to the NBA. You know what I mean? All of it's becoming, I think, a whole big circus show. So, but I mean, it's entertainment for people. So,
do you think at the end of the day that, you know, all these, you know, Jake Paul, KSI type of bullshit boxing fights, you know, as one would say, do you think that is at the end of the day a good thing, or do you think that's a bad thing for boxing, or what are your thoughts around it? You know,
I don't know. I think in a way it's a bad reason, and the reason why I would say it's bad is for the fact that you have these guys who, you know, basically got into the game with a lot of followers, and they're taking the game serious now, but you know, it's anyone can go and get their their professional license, you know, where I think that's where it kind of uncreditizes boxing and some of the guys at the top is for the fact that, you know, they're bringing the attention to it, but it just kind of uncreditizes like the boxer itself or like the industry itself. Like you can't just go be in the NFL. You know what I mean? No matter how you just can't be in the NFL, but they're two different sports. But as far as the eyes that it's getting on the boxing scene and people are interested and it's inspiring others to do, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about is, you know, be able to inspire the younger generation or even the generation now to be better and, you know, to really go out there and, you know, try accomplishing all they can accomplish in this world. But I think it's good overall. I think it's a good situation. But I would take that away from it. I think it just kind of uncreditizes professional boxing a little bit. What do you guys think on that?
I mean,
I would say. Go ahead, son.
You got it, Kyle.
All right, I would say like I don't necessarily consider like the Paul brothers and KSI like professional boxers. What they are is just the greatest marketers on planet Earth. And I mean, 100%. You look at that fight that Jake just had with Mike Tyson, and it was like, all right, you know, like this shouldn't really have happened. You could tell, Jake could have knocked him out. Tyson was too slow, and it was clearly obvious. You know, like he could have knocked him out, but he didn't.
What's even more crazy to me, man, is that people need to go get checked in the hospital. That people thought Mike Tyson could really actually win that fight. Not saying that good of a fight or anything, but man, when I'm 60 years old, I'm getting my ass kicked too. You know,
100%.
Somebody who's been in the gym training, like people don't understand, you know, the timing and the different stuff. Like anyone who's ever sparred, they'll understand. But all these casuals on the couch and haven't really got in the ring and thrown a punch ever, they'll have no idea what it takes. Like they just think Mike Tyson's still the baddest dude in the world. But hey, Father Time has never been overturned or whatever. So however you want to say that, but you know,
you know what they say, man. Pads don't hit back. He looks good in those clips.
No, yeah, exactly. Pads don't hit back, exactly. And you even Sal, for your experience of it, you know, like when you got in the ring and you spar is way different than what it is, you know, hitting the pads and hitting the heavy bag.
Dude, that shit's terrifying, bro. To be very honest with you, like the first few times you get in, like I remember, the night before, I went in like the next day, like 7, 8 in the morning to spar, and like the night before, I was like, holy fuck, like I gotta go like try and kill somebody tomorrow. This other dude's gonna try and kill me too. I was sparring with fucking Matt too, of all people. Who was a trainer over at the gym. That motherfucker does not know how to like not go hard. Like he wants to knock everybody out. Like he's in there sparring like kids and shit. Doesn't matter like who you are, bro. He's gonna try and knock you out.
Yeah, the overhand right's coming from hell. That's what's going on.
That motherfucker. Yeah, that's exactly what he hit me with, dude. I swear to God, the first time he hit me with one too, it went right over my head. I didn't even fucking see it coming. I was like, "Did you just hit me, dude?"
Yeah,
ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I fully agree. Like, I mean, I'm definitely on board with you guys. Like, I remember like when all that celebrity boxing stuff first started coming out, I was like, this is like ridiculous. Like, they're not actually going to fight real fights. And, like the first few ones were really that. Like, it was kind of just like, it looks like everybody's taking a dive. Like, you're fighting like Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, who looks like he just got off the couch. Like, it's not like, it wasn't impressive or like, I don't know. Like, everybody was watching to see Jake Paul get knocked out,
Yeah.
Now, Jake has a few, other than the Mike Tyson fight, I think that was bullshit. But, even like the Tommy Fury fight, which wasn't like, I would say that was a little bit like outside of like the, celebrity boxing stuff. But, he did lose there, and it's like as soon as you get like real competition in front of him, the script starts changing. I think my problem with that for the most part was just like in the beginning, he was like, "Oh, I'm the best boxer ever." Like he's talking shit to like Canelo, like fucking Floyd. And I'm like, dude, like you just started training like a year or two ago. Like you're trying to call out these greats. Yeah. So I definitely agree with you guys. It definitely takes away from that credibility. I mean, like people don't see, somebody like you, JJ. I've seen it with my own eyes. Like this dude doesn't fucking leave the gym. Like he's always in there training. He's always jogging. He's always doing something. Yeah. And then you got guys like Jake Paul, that just kind of like wander in and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a pro boxer now. So I 100% feel you there, JJ. It is kind of bullshit, but I guess it does bring more money to sport. I guess in the end of the day, and inspires the kids and shit. But yeah, definitely a bit of disrespect there.
Yeah, no, I agree. But it's growing on people, so more and more people are doing it. So it's channeling another avenue, I guess, of people inspiring them to do more. So, and they're not all going to be just influencers. You got even people that come to the gym here now. It's like some of these kids showed up because they like Jake Paul. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's your boxing coach.
I'm like, hell yeah, I'll knock Jake Paul out. Get him up out of there real quick.
Well, you touched on it
with him one day.
Huh?
Who knows, JJ? You might step in there with him one day.
That'd be something. Shit.
How quick do you think? How quick do you think you get him out of there?
Yeah, big payday, right? Did you guys see too? Did you guys see that? It looks like they were saying something about Jake Paul, Canelo. I just seen something come out about it, but
yeah, really, I feel like half the time it's bullshit. I'm hoping it's real because Canelo's a dude that like won't like he doesn't need the money, so he's not just going to take the fall. He'll probably just knock him out. So
yeah,
that'd be great to see.
I mean, if you're Canelo, why not? Why not go in there? Get a big payday.
Sure great payday, and you're going to be out of there in 2 rounds.
Yeah, you get a quick, easy payday and get on out of there. If I'm Canelo, sign the contract.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But circling back to legitimate boxing a little bit, are there are there any guys that you kind of look at and model your game after that are still currently in the boxing game?
Yeah, I would say one for sure would be Caleb Plant. You got to get behind the Great White Hopes. You know what I mean? There's not very many of us out here, so we got to put out here to inspire the next. Hey, and all for the
You're a Cooper DeJean, bro.
I'm not racist. I'm just being. Come on now. It's fair. Crazy nowadays. Shit, they'll terminate you or cancel you or whatever.
But I think we turned the page on that.
Huh?
I think we're starting to turn the page on that, hopefully. So
yeah, hopefully. Shit. Hey, you guys should clip that and put that one up in the press. But no, I would say Caleb Plant, man, I think he's how he even talks his shit, man. He's always stood on business, man, and getting out there and calling out a lot of guys. Definitely one guy I definitely look up to in the game. And I've been following him for quite some time now. Probably since about 2016, about 2016, probably roughly. But another guy that I enjoy watching, obviously I like Gervonta Davis that's active too, but he wouldn't be somebody I'd take too much like stylistically. Andre Ward's another one. Andre Ward, I box a lot like him myself anyway, so I take a lot of stuff from him. You guys probably don't know, but like Kelly Pavlik, watch a lot of Kelly Pavlik. So he's another great white hope from back in the day, back in like early 2000s, mid 2000s. But yeah, those would probably be my my guys that I follow up on. for the most part. And I watch a lot of boxing, but man, I'm also super busy. So I, have a lot of stuff going on. So I don't, I'm not sitting there and watching film all day either.
Yeah. You can only do so much.
You can only do so much, man. So I got to train and get it in too. So, but I got like on a whole nother tip, but I got great staff behind me as far as just like my coaches, with Coach Antonio and Coach Joe out of Gideon Boxing, and then Coach Antonio obviously here, and then just with my strength and conditioning coach with Gabe Larner. He's the truth. Just a good people around me, Mondo as well. And then we just brought on Coach Reggie. He's just a guy that Reggie's a good dude, man. He gets underneath my skin, man. And he's a guy who can push me to a whole nother element till I'm like dead in the ring, So we'll get on the body bag. And that's literally specifically, I brought him on literally just to do that, just to take me to the deep waters. So when I get into fights and it's, getting into the later rounds and I'm getting a little fatigued, I've been there plenty of times before.
Yeah.
Because you gotta have those pushes like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you did just talk about, getting outside your comfort zone and shit like that. It's like how important that is.
So you obviously have your days where you're doing like a little bit more technical work, and then days in where it's just straight dog work.
Uh-huh. Well, you just touched on, before we move on to some other stuff, but you just touched on people that inspire you, people that you look up to, the people around you and things like that. But now you're kind of reaching a point in your career and in your life, and I guess just, in general, where people are taking inspiration from you and people are getting, motivated because of you, people are coming to the gym, getting memberships because they're like, oh, this guy JJ knows how to get shit done and does it right. And so, you've definitely reached and are, still climbing in that aspect of, people pulling motivation from you. And even in the gym,
at the end of the day, that's the goal. That's what I dream to do. I think it's a quote from Kobe Bryant. Not to cut you off, but quote from Kobe Bryant. We leave an impact on this world, and I think it's something along the lines. We're here to inspire others or the following generation behind us.
Yeah, I mean, and the only other thing I had to add was, at the gym, I used to see you always, running the kids' classes and stuff, and really. Not just saying that you're trying to inspire, this next generation, but you actually put it into practice and you're actually doing this stuff.
I think that's
how important is that, and how does that fit in your goals?
I think that honestly, that's everything. I think being able to lead from the front or lead by example. You see a lot of these people nowadays, and you see it all over social media, but people out here preaching all this and that, but not really following or not walking the footsteps or not walking that, not taking that journey themselves. And I think, I get in the ring also, too, to show them, like, you can't be a coach and not say, there's a lot of people that are older now and Father Time, it's not their time no more. But as I have my time, how can I go ahead and teach somebody to do this, this, and this? But if I'm not demonstrated myself, I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to show you that, what it takes to get in the ring, the balls it takes, the courage it takes, and all the emotions you go through on top of everything else I'm doing. And they're like, damn, JJ really, that's what respect, but where the respect comes from is because of the work I'm putting in to be able to do all these things, to lead by example. And I think that's super, super important, because you can say all you want, but I think your actions are a lot better than any words you could ever say.
Yeah, 100%. You definitely put that into practice, so it's good to see.
It's like listening to, you're gonna, if Floyd Mayweather was talking to me over somebody who's never done anything, who am I gonna listen to?
Right, exactly. Talk to the guy with experience and that actually does it.
If you guys had some guys who, like, you got Joe Rogan in front of you about podcasts, you guys are gonna be all ears because this guy has lived it, he's done it, versus some so-called expert that says he has all the best, he's the number one podcast, blah, 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 this and that. Like, he makes podcasts or whatever. You guys are going to listen to Joe Rogan over this guy who's just, saying or portraying that he's like all this, Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of guys that have been there and have done that, and there are guys on the horizon here that are doing it and being there, sticking here with boxing, Canelo and Terence Crawford. That is a fight that is very close to finishing up here. That's on the horizon. That's coming up soon. Let's hear your takes on it. Who's taking that fight? Do you have a prediction? How it happens? When it happens?
Yeah.
Let me hear your thoughts.
I think, I think they said, I don't know if they got a date for, I think they got a rough date. I think it's somewhere later in this year in 2025, but, I think that's a good fight. I think it's going to come down to, I think Canelo's going to be a little bit too strong for him. I think if Terence Crawford can box and move and keep Canelo thinking, I think that, he could pull off a decision. He's not going to stop Canelo. But I do think, and I don't know if Canelo's going to stop Terence, but I think in the later rounds, I think Canelo's going to take control of the fight and really start kind of turning it up on Terence. And I think that's just due to the power of Canelo. I don't know, but that's a good fight, man. I'm kind of excited for it. I haven't really looked into it too crazy, but just stylistically knowing both of them and watching them, I would say I think Canelo's going to win by unanimous decision.
Good call.
I think we'll sneak out some of the early rounds, but I think Canelo will start kind of walking him down and putting some shots together, and you're probably hurting him, quite a bit in the later rounds.
For sure.
And I'd like to see Bud win it though, just for the fact of I feel like him coming.
Yeah, he's sweet.
Coming up and he's sweet too, man. And I like his style a lot. I like how he switches, and that's honestly something I actually kind of been working on myself, is switching a little bit more. Because a lot of boxing, man, is just being unpredictable, and he really is. So, but I think Canelo's just going to be a little bit too much for him. Too big.
Yeah.
That's a big jump. He went from fighting 40 just 3 years ago to now he's going to be fighting I think they're doing that at 60, aren't they?
Yeah. So
I think that's 60, and that's a huge jump. He's only fought at 54 that one time, and he didn't look that great at 54. It wasn't a bad performance at all. A lot of people were hating on the performance, but his shots just weren't as effective on the bigger guys. And you see that as people move up in weight.
Yeah. So, JJ, I kind of want to dive into jet boxing and fitness a little bit more. So what kind of motivated you to start that up? Were there any difficulties in the early stages? And then looking into the future, where do you see the gym in 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. Fuck, we're still having difficulties, every day I'm putting out these fires over here. But no, it's actually going really good, man. I got a great staff, but there's been a whole bunch of headaches along the way. Obviously COVID being one of them, but we're starting it up. And I know we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but I started off by sneaking people into Planet Fitness, and that grew to then I was I paid one of my old coaches, Coach Glass, he's out of the South Side. And I think I was paying him like $250 or something a month for rent. And I just had a key there and unlocked in it for my clients. But I had a big international student following here from MSU, and man, they loved it. And, I had probably 15 to 20 of those, them at the time that I actually ended up opening up the gym here at Kelly's. And how that all kind of came about, my whole goal was to be able, this was my way of, I didn't even really know if I was going to open up a gym. It kind of just all kind of came about. I guess I maybe had the thought of it, but I just wanted, it was a way of me making money and having everything focused around boxing, because I was so locked in on my boxing career. All kind of fell into place because I was actually going up to work with Coach Al Mitchell, legendary coach. He's the old boxing, I guess Olympic Center would have been up in where's that? Marquette. So I was up there for about 3-4 weeks, and I had my cousin, who we were working out together at the time, and I'd been teaching him a little bit of boxing. I was like, just take care of my clients for the next month, right? And they still wanted to keep working out. And so he did that. And then his mom, Kelly, actually owns Kelly's Consignments. And when I came back, he's like, man, we should open up a gym together. And, it was something he wanted to do. And that ended up falling out. We ended up opening up the gym, and I created a great relationship with my, aunt, Kelly. And, but we ended up having fallen out like a couple months later, and he just didn't end up wanting to be a part of it. I'm not even really sure what happened, but it is what it is. It's all the story. But, and then COVID obviously happened, wiped out all the clients. And from there, I just kind of fully invested in. That's kind of where I stopped boxing as much and just focused on growing the gym to the point it is now. And now, we're doing really, really well. Obviously now I'm just kind of taking care of the back end of stuff, and it's been great. It gives me the time to be able to train like I need to train, to be able to get to the next level. But where I see it in the next 5 years, next 5 years, I would like to have this I have this location here. I'm probably going to expand another like 1,100 square feet here. Probably here later this year is what it's looking like. And then I would to have 5 years. I'd have another location, and we're looking at a location over on the west side. So, and kind of just expand slowly and kind of organically. I feel like I have some good mentors in my corner that, I wanted to jump off the cliff and open up a new gym like a year ago, and I was definitely not ready to open up a year ago. So you're always learning, man. And with business and with life, taking others' advice who have lived that path, kind of how we were talking about earlier with the fighting and the coaching and things like that, people who lead by example, and getting advice from them, and saying, hey, take a couple steps back and let's go ahead, let's refine it, let's master what we have here at the gym, and then we can go ahead, then we can expand. Like, because there's always little things that you need to work on. Like, we have a great system here. It works really good, but there's just a lot of fine tuning. Organization is huge as you keep growing bigger and bigger and bigger. So just kind of dialing that in more and more and getting all your employees. And that's the hardest part, is getting all your employees to buy in, as we have great employees here, but there's always just little stuff you need to work on, So we have an advertisement team, and just kind of refining some of those things that are going on with the gym, and getting to be, a professional with making the sales and having the sales team and all that type of stuff, still needs to be perfected. So we're still working on that a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I think 2 locations here in the next 5 years for sure.
Yeah, that's
man.
awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I'll, with that, I'll have the boxing career going and stuff too. So I think it'll be a staple in Lansing, and I think it will be, it'll be really good for the city here. And I'd like to honestly have ones in other, major cities, but that's probably 10, 15 years down the road. It's also, I just, one thing I was thinking about as I'm talking about that, it's like, we all get, and I do it myself, but you see these people, and this is something about social media. I was just kind of thinking about, a lot of these people you see talking, and you kind of like, even with the podcast stuff, I'm sure you guys see people that have podcasts. A lot of these guys are all older, and, like, damn, they're killing it. They're doing a great job. So it almost like kind of psychs you out. Like, you're not far enough yet, or you're not doing good enough yet. And I think, and I look back at I'm then I have to pull back sometimes when I'm thinking about that stuff and be like, I'm farther than them when they were like 26, 27 years old, and you just got to keep striving forward and keep learning and keep growing at the rate you do, and just kind of stay in your lane on those type of things. I know that's a whole nother topic, but I think we all kind of fall victim to doing that. Like, we're not doing enough. At least I do that sometimes, because I'm always striving to, this isn't good enough. I need to do more. I need to do more. I need to do more.
100%.
Just,
Yeah, definitely. Perception and perspectives it's a weird thing.
It is a weird thing. And just understanding that, you're doing a great job, and always just kind of don't get stuck in the rear view mirror, but go back and look and see where you were, and I think that's super, super important.
Yeah, 100%. And even for you yourself, I mean, looking back for you, how do you feel being in the current position you are in now as both a leader and an athlete? Because you've definitely have risen up through the ranks pretty quickly yourself.
And I'm very, very proud of myself. And it's funny, I don't ever look back too much, but like I said, we just had that interview on that story we did like 8 years ago. They just came in actually today, and thinking about some of, because she had read back through the story, and it's been, man, I was like, damn, I was like, I just finally got my first car. I just got out of riding a moped, and didn't even have a gym at that time and all that stuff. And probably had maybe negative money in my bank account. So I'm in a lot better place now. So it's, it all takes time, and, people see you at where you're at now versus like, and then you have your old friends who seen you when you first, started off, and how much growth you've done. And it's funny when me being locked up, I got incarcerated for a little bit of time, and me getting out. And I remember people that were always in front of me. Right. And, just in life, they're, whatever that it looks like, the house, financials, whatever it is, they're just ahead of you in life. And it's crazy, all the people that I passed during that period of time, and really, really like excelled. And, now, I'm in a group to where, like, being only 27 years old, doing really, really well for myself. So just do hard work, man. And really, like I said, how we kind of touch back on it, but, it ends up through the time and through the process, the overall believing in yourself. And that didn't come easy too for myself either. Like, I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you. There was a lot of times I was doubting myself at times, and I still do sometimes, but it's I just did a post about it, but it's checking your mirror, looking at yourself and looking at the things that you can fix, because all problems start with you.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at things. So that's kind of the bulk of the questions that I have for you, at least. But one more thing I want to ask you.
Yeah.
If you had a Mount Rushmore of boxers of all time, who are you throwing on your Mount Rushmore?
Oh, see, this one's a tough one for me because I'm not. I would have to say, let me see. I put I wouldn't put him at the top, but I'd put like Mike Tyson up there, and I'd put Floyd Mayweather up there. Muhammad Ali, obviously. Your other ones would be like Sugar Ray Robinson, I would say. I'm trying to think who would be my last one, because 5, right? I need 5.
No, I think it's 4.
4.
Is it 4?
Yeah. Is that your 4, Sugar Ray?
I don't know if Mike Tyson makes the cut. I like Mike Tyson, the mentality he had with it and what he brought to it. I think Mike Tyson kind of was maybe hyped up a little bit. I think he was a phenomenal fighter with all the stuff going on, but I think that there's definitely some other guys out there that were definitely better than him. I'm trying to think. Who else?
Yeah, I think Mike Tyson gets that.
Go ahead.
I said he gets that little the scare factor into him a little bit, especially after he comes out of prison and his traps are above his head. You're just like,
yeah,
dude.
No, 100%. Honestly, I think someone who's underrated, honestly, is Evander Holyfield.
He's sick.
Evander Holyfield, beast, man.
He doesn't get brought up enough.
Yeah, definitely. Does anyone else have anything they want to add in here?
Nah. You brought a lot of motivational speeches today, JJ. I think you're getting that career started early.
I know, man. I know. Hey, you already know
it's good to get practice. Good to get practice.
If anything, guys, you guys got to go ahead in the morning, every time you wake up, or every morning. I think it's important. Take a shower and listen to like a 10 minutes or 15 minutes of a motivational speak, like whoever you want, Goggins, ET, it doesn't matter. I think it starts your day off right.
Is that how you start every morning, JJ?
Yeah, that's pretty much how I start every morning, especially when I'm really getting shit done.
So, makes sense.
I mean, to be honest with you, man, I probably watch every single motivational out there, or motivational video out there, to be honest with you. It stays on repeat. Like, I'll be driving in the car, I'll have it blasted, get my mind right for the day. So that or going from one thing to the next, I always got it going. If I'm cooking in the kitchen, I got it blasted. So it just keeps you keeps you locked in.
Yeah, man. I mean, with a life like yours, there's a lot to be motivated for. So I respect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You had me fired up a couple times throughout this interview, and I'm sure the listeners as well. So
good.
That was awesome, dude.
I was gonna say, man, I can't wait to see what you guys do with this. What do you got? What's your guys' plans too with that's my question to you guys. What's your guys' plans with the podcast?
Taking that one step at a time, because with the podcast, with the podcast, the growth is slow, but it snowballs. So once some growth starts coming in, it just continuously grows. So it's more so just trying to stay consistent. And the thing that I like the most about it is having the opportunity to speak to guys like you that have shown their body of work. And I just find it very interesting hearing how guys like you think and go about conducting your business. So at the end of the day, I just want to go out and speak to guys like you.
Yeah, no, 100%. I really appreciate that. And I was going to say too, one thing I took from this, like, I'd say this is probably one of my funner podcasts, just for the fact I've done quite a few at this point, but even like for this being on the phone, I like it because your guys' personalities of it, like the different questions you guys have and how you guys kind of go about it, I think makes it really cool compared to you get some people that do podcasts and maybe they just don't have you got to have a personality to it. You got to have the right people doing it. So, and the right questions, I think you guys got that. So a lot of it, man, just keep pushing it. Shit. I mean, at least personally myself, I never have, too much time to hop on a podcast or not enough time to hop on a podcast quick and talk some shit. So I would just keep putting it out there, man. Keep getting great people on here and shit. You'll see it grow. If that's one of you guys' dreams, so.
Absolutely, man.
Like
absolutely.
Thank you, JJ. Appreciate it.
No,
that means a lot, man.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
A lot.
So, I appreciate you guys' time, man. I appreciate you guys having me. Oh shit. I know we're still recording, but when do you guys think that will be, you guys are putting stuff out?
I think we'll probably post this like beginning to mid next week, I want to say.
Okay.
Like after the Super Bowl. And then we'll have a couple clips coming out a day after that for probably like a week or so.
Okay, perfect. No, that sounds like a plan.
Well, before you head out of here, JJ, let us know your plans. What's going on? Where can we find you? Instagram and what's this fight that I've been hearing so much about? What's going on there?
we're going to be fighting here in Lansing, Michigan, guys, at the Causeway Bay, March 8th. And then if you guys want to follow me on social medias, it's going to be at @thejet_JJ. Yes,
100%.
sir.
Thank
And
you for
expect a
taking your time
knockout
today.
here on the 8th. What's up, Zach?
I said, yeah, and thanks again for taking your time today and hopping on and talking to us. We appreciate
Yeah,
it
most
a lot.
definitely. I appreciate it, guys.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thanks,
boys in
JJ.
the gym now. I said, what's up?
Peace. Yes, sir,
Cheers.
I will. I'll see you guys.
Later.
Peace.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in for our interview with JJ, the Jet Johnson. That was a hell of an interview. That was a lot of fun. Really appreciate it. We'll catch you guys next week.